you're probably wrong about some things, and I'm probably wrong about some things, and hopefully if we talk, we can sort out the differences and make things more stable.
Right. So, and I would put rationality right in that place. That's why rationality is primary.
But the problem, fair enough, but there's a problem with that too. And I think, see, all the times we've talked so far, you've been, I would say, the avatar of a scientific viewpoint, and I've been cast, let's say, as the avatar of a religious viewpoint. But I've actually thought this through scientifically a lot. And I can make a biological argument for all of this, and a developmental argument. So it isn't only rationality that does this. So this is the thing that was so cool about studying, for example, Jean Piaget. Because one of the things Piaget pointed out is that children engage in negotiation. They negotiate their reality just like adults do. But they don't do it only through articulated speech, and neither do adults. What children do is they get together and play. And this is why play is so important for children. That starts to happen when they're about 3 years old, because they can look outside their own idiosyncratic perspective at 3, and they can start to take someone else's viewpoint into consideration, which is what you have to do if you're going to play. And then what children do is they invent little fictional realities. That's what they do when they're pretending. And so they assign each other roles, and they assign a plot and a drama to the pretend play, and then they act it out. And in that action, they bring themselves into harmonious union, right? Which is the act of generating a game that everyone wants to play. And Piaget's observation was, and this is Nietzschean observation as well, that the morality that characterizes society isn't rationality top-down, although it's partly that. It's also interactions that are, say, play-based and bottom-up. And that's actually how it evolved to begin with, because animals generate societies that are functional, but they don't do it through rationality. They can't, because they don't have rationality. They don't have articulated speech. They have something like an embodied game. Now, what happens, and this is a Nietzschean observation, he's the first person I learned this from, is our morality emerged from the bottom up through thousands, hundreds of thousands of years of shared games, let's say, and the interweaving of those shared games into something approximating a morality that we could all live within peacefully. That happened bottom up. And then what happened was, because we didn't know the mechanism behind that, because it's instantiated in our nervous system invisibly, we watched ourselves act, which is what we do, and then we told stories about that, because that's what we do when we watch ourselves act. And then we encapsulated the morality that evolved in the stories. And that's the religious essence of the story.
I got 10 seconds. So we have to pivot to Douglas for an important question, but I would just say, in response to that, Jordan, I don't disagree with much of consequence in that. My concern, however, is that there's a reason why we differentiate childhood from adulthood, and all of us are stunted to some degree or another in a fairly perverse childhood. And the reason, I mean, what we confront now is a world largely populated by dangerous children, right, who are in their 5th and 6th decade of life.
You mean run by?
Populated and run by, yes, and if anything typifies the childhood of our species, in my view, it is religious orthodoxy. And insofar as we're breaking free of the orthodoxy part and getting something that's more scalable and can survive a more pluralistic and cosmopolitan world, it is because it is being winnowed at every point by rationality. And I think that at some point we could have a fully defensible, rational honoring of many of the things you think are essential, like the power of story, or the power of ritual, or the power of art that is focused on some sacred purpose. And the question is how to get there.